people of the internet, my name is Oduwa Jagero and this is Dialogues Jagero. We are talking conditioning with a wonderful lady, Scholar Mick Wanjiru. Why do you call yourself, by the way, Scholar Mick Wanjiru? Mick is your name?
No, it's an artist name from church. I have done 2 gospel albums.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
So that is really wonderful because we are going to be talking about church.
Yeah, I was deep in there. I was a worship leader in church. I was working full-time ministry, 8 to 5. I was very involved in the media department in church. And that's where the name came from. Mick, Scholar Mick.
Like Mick the what?
The being humble.
There is a Bible that talks about it. Could you
the meek shall inherit the earth.
The meek shall inherit the earth.
Yes, it is us. Yes, it is sort of an intention of saying that I want to be wealthy and I shall be wealthy and I will take all your land and all of it will be mine.
like the Israelites did to the Canaanites, right? The Israelites, like they're doing to Gaza right now.
And no, not really. You know, it's just like abundance is my portion. Prosperity follows me. I have all the things that I need. Yes.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
All these things. What are they called? There is the one that is the one that you just told me is the Gikuyu one.
Yeah, this one.
I have this, but I didn't know that it was Gikuyu.
Yeah, these shells were used to make beads for the Agikuyu, but this is from Kitambo, the Egyptian days, the Nubian days. This used to be money.
Okay, courier shells.
Yes, they used to trade with it. But now it's beauty and aesthetics. So I've worn this because different religious communities, different practices, there are so many of them.
You want to tell me more a little bit of the...
So the Gikuyu is now where I'm from. I'm not very, very vast with Gikuyu culture, but there was a time I was in that community. We call them the Ondoire. Ondoire, we learn our ways. So because I always approach everything from self-awareness, all I wanted to know was how things were done back in the day. So one of the areas that really interested me was the clan that I was from. I'm from the clan of Aboi. They're called Aboi.
Aboi.
And Abois were known to be the most beautiful, and they were known for wearing a lot of beauty things. So they would make things for beauty. They used to do a lot of makeup.
That is from the name Wamboi.
Wamboi, yeah, that's one of the clans. So basically that's what I left with because the rest of it was very patriarchal and I did not like it. So I ignored the rest of it.
Patriarchal. So you went to learn about your culture. You realized that it was patriarchal.
Yes.
And then you said fuck off.
I just took what I like, and the rest of it I was like,
But that's not being a good scholar.
No,
Scholar
but I don't want to assimilate those parts that I saw oppressive to women. So I took what I wanted, and the rest I said
How is Kikuyu culture patriarchal?
How is it patriarchal?
Yeah, how is Kikuyu culture patriarchal?
Oh, let me give you one.
Okay.
Having a lot of wives. Let's start there.
Okay.
And, of course, having a lot of children, whereby the women are supposed to do all the labor. Okay, that's one of them. Then the concept now of polygamy and different wives, and now the children fighting amongst each other because of property. Okay, so they are trying to carry that forward to today's society. I don't know if you've had a lot of talk about polygamy. It's also very prevalent in the Kikuyu community. Okay, the refusal to educate the girl and educate the boy, because the boy is the one who's going to uphold the family, and eventually the girl is just going to have kids and stay at home and all those things, those kind of things. So there's a lot of patriarchy in the culture then. Yeah. But they're trying to bring it back. Like if you see these modern conversations of Ondoire, you'll start now hearing they're talking about polygamy again, and they don't have the resources. At least back then, there were resources for polygamy.
Women always talk a lot about resources when men are talking about polygamy.
Yes.
Why do you think that that polygamy should be attached to resources?
Because children will come, and children require resources.
Yes, but the idea is also women are also working. So let me give you an example of how I think modern polygamy should work, and it would be wonderful and it will be very beneficial to all the women.
In an idealistic world.
No, this is gonna happen.
Okay.
And it can happen if women want it, because we know women that are now having beautiful houses and are approaching young boys and saying that I just want to
Kijana panda
kitanda. Right? So I was telling my friends the other day that polygamy would work fantastically this way. If I am Udur Chegero and I am a polygamous man, I want to, women that slide into my inboxes and are having good jobs, and they're moja, let's say that one is in Kiambu town. She's living there, okay? She's having a two-bedroom apartment. Okay. Yes, I will say I Udur Chegero decide I will get you as my wife.
Okay.
But don't talk about resources, okay? Because we already have resources in that house. You are already working with Safaricom, and you are earning 250,000 every month. That is part of my resources. So I will allow you to be with those resources there, and I'll be the man of the house. I will drive to Kiambu town, okay, love you with your children, all right, in the same vein.
Or the children are not yours.
They are mine. They are mine.
You've adopted the children.
No, I've not adopted them. They are mine. We will give birth together.
Oh.
Yes. And we will use the resources that she's getting from Safaricom.
You will not contribute anything.
Listen to the story. This is where women get it wrong and remain behind.
Okay.
Listen. Okay. I have another one on Thika Road. Okay. With the same how she has got her own resources, but all she's lacking is her husband, somebody that can hold her and roll with her on the bed or on the sofa and watch Netflix with her, okay, or watch fucking KTN news with her. And then there is another one in Ngong. She has her things going on, and all she needs is a man. So I'm a polygamous man. We have resources. All these resources are there for all of us. 250,000 is in Kiambu Road. I have another 150,000 in Ngong. I have another, let's say, 70,000. That one is working for a small job. Let's say in Kitengela. I also have that one.
Don't you see you're a leech? Don't you think you're a leech?
I'm not eating those things. What am I eating?
Your children are eating those things.
Yes. But
that is being a leech.
It's not a leech. It's not me. It's my children.
So, okay,
it's my children.
When you go to her house,
why are you calling? Because my children are eating the money from the.
You're supposed to provide for your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am, and the profit.
You are leeching off the woman to provide for your children.
And as somebody who is into spirituality and things like that, that providence is not just monetary.
I know.
Yeah.
You've just said that these women just need a man, meaning they need the DICK. That's what you mean.
Yeah, those can be bought nowadays, right? You can have. No, you can't buy the emotional love. So anyway, what I am telling you is women need to take several steps back and think about resource. Do not exclude the resource when you are talking about polygamy. Do not exclude your own resources. Your resources should be part of the resources we are talking about. So if you are a woman that is earning very good money and you do not have a husband, get a man that can be the father of your children, that can love your children, that can give them emotional support, and blah 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 blah. Even if the monetary is missing, what is so difficult about that?
How many women have you met that have done that?
You can have your cake and eat it.
I am of the opinion that is a very nice delulu. Delulu world you've built on yourself. It sounds like a very good idea.
Yeah,
it's idealistic.
It's an experiment that should be implemented.
Yeah, but I see at the end of that experiment, a lot of fights and conflicts, and a man being thrown out with all his clothes.
Yeah,
get out of here! You think I will be feeding you and your children?
You know, we know there is Kitengela.
Oh yeah, you go to Kitengela,
and you know.
You'll stay there for a few months and you'll also be kicked out because women are not designed.
And by the time she's kicking me out, that one badly needs me. I'll go back to
Kiambu. Ni maisha gani unataka kuishi? Unaenda kwa huyu unafukuzwa, unaenda kwa huyu unafukuzwa.
And by the way, you are getting it all wrong. It's not that I don't have my place. No. It's not.
You're alone. You have a wife. Where you live, you have another wife.
Yes. Okay. I have another wife. And that one, my resources can take care of that house.
How does this wife feel about the other Kitengela, Kiambu Road, Thika Road?
Then if you're going back to how she's feeling, then we have to go back to the Bible, where they are saying, and you're going to tell me about it because you're more of a student of the Bible than I am, where they are saying that in the end times, what will the women do? They will say, just come and be my husband. Let them just call. I just want people to call, so they can see that I have got a husband.
Munapenda hiyo scripture sana. Okay, let's go. Let's go down to nyinyi the male gender.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the nature of the female and the nature of the male. Okay. Even when you look at the organs themselves, there is the receiver and there is the giver.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a simpler way of talking about nature. I know we are in the modern world and things don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
That means that it is not really the nature of a woman to really give a man. It's not. They can do it. But at some point, itafika mahali and they'll be like, hey, kwani mimi ndo nalea huyu mwanaume?
You are not giving me anything.
No, you're coming to my house.
Yes, but I don't have to even eat at your house.
Now, how does that even work? That's what I'm calling the lulu.
No. You see when I...
Unakuja kama umeshiba? Unakuja kufanya nini? Conjugal?
No, to sit down with my children.
Without eating?
I must not eat.
You see?
I must not eat. Honestly,
then
I must not eat.
Why is she your wife?
Must I eat at my wife's? I don't have to.
So you'll come kama umeshiba and conjugals and stuff.
Even in traditional Luo marriages, the women would bring all the food where the man is. So in Luo culture,
good point.
You have got different houses within the compound.
Yes.
And then the man has got his place where he likes.
Yes.
Sometimes he has got this house that like a man cave.
We have that in Kikuyu. It's called Dingira.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the man will always be eating with the children and not with the wives. Okay?
Really?
Yeah.
That's so unfair.
It is not unfair.
Me, I cook, and then I bring for you food. You eat with your children, and it's me who's cooked.
But you can eat. You don't. You're not. It's not like you're not eating. You will eat.
You see how that's unfair? No, you've just put it in a way that me, I'm not part of the family. I am mimi ni maid. Kazi yangu ni kupika chakula nilete mkule na watoto.
Don't look at it like that.
But it's the way it looks like.
Eat with your fellow women.
Why?
There are other women that you can eat with.
Why can't I eat with my children and husband? You have got
your sisters.
Give me a reason why I can't eat with my children and my husband.
Yeah, that's also there.
Yeah, you know, some of those things those are the things I'm calling patriarchal because now there are rules. There are unspoken rules.
Just a minute. We have to tell these guys that we are recording. They can't do this.
There are unspoken rules that no matter how much you try to run away from, they will always get to you. And sometimes the only solution is to avoid some situations. Because even your own mother and aunties will tell you.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, we don't do that. Because they've also been conditioned.
Yeah.
So it's a conditioning over generations. But now, those of us who said, okay, we are moving away from this conditioning.
Yeah. Would you rather have a Ben 10 coming to Kiambu Road, or would you rather have a man that is the father of your children coming to Kiambu Road?
I do not want another man coming to my house so that I can take care of him,
But
whatever.
women are having Ben 10s coming to their house.
That's fine.
So you'd rather have a Ben 10 but not have a man that is taking care of you?
Actually, I'm going to say like Ellis Ross.
Okay.
So you had that conversation,
I
right?
have not had it.
She's an actress. I don't know if
Okay.
you watched the TV series Blackish.
Blackish.
Blackish, there's a TV
No.
series. That lady, she had a conversation with Michelle Obama and the brother in their podcast.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about life, and she's 50-something years old. And she said she prefers dating younger men because men his age are too toxic. And I agree with her.
I think I know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I think women tend to bunch everything that they don't like into this bracket called toxicity. When they don't like it, it is toxic.
For example, all those things you've just told me here. Our wife in Thika Road, our wife sijui in Kitengela, sijui
Let's go back to our topic. Let's go back to our topic.
You are the man Ellis is talking about.
Ellis, I mean, if you're 50-something years old, it is difficult
She's
to... It's difficult.
Tracy, no, she's called Tracy, not Ellis.
Tracy
Ellis Ross, yes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for her to date her age mates.
Considering the fact that she's also very wealthy.
Yeah.
And,
she's controlling.
And
she wants her sex a certain way.
She deserves it.
Yeah?
So she deserves to have her sex a certain way.
Yeah, but a Ben 10, not a 60-year-old man.
But a 60-year-old man is hanging out with her.
Even the men who leave their wives to go and sleep with young girls, there are things that their wives can't do.
Even that 60-year-old man, case in point, Shannon Sharp, what has been going on, is into the case with a 19-year-old. So it's like a reversal. So Ellis wants date younger men. And Sharp is already dating younger girls, so it's like a flip-flop.
And the problem with people like Ellis is that when they do not define that toxicity that they're talking about, they do not define it. They just bundle it as toxicity. And I think podcasters like Michelle Obama should be asking, what is this toxic thing
you're talking about?
Yeah, in
I think it's
60-year-old
because if we define it for you, you might not find it as toxic. For example, telling me that you'll have one woman and 3 women in different locations and you will be going to, and then you tell me that I will be cooking food and then your children and you eat and me I eat, na uko kwa shamba peke yangu. That's totally toxic to me.
What is toxic?
It's poison. It does something to my emotions.
Yeah.
It makes me feel unwanted.
Yeah.
It makes me, that's toxic. It's abuse. Yeah. Yes. So to you it might not look like toxic. To you it looks like that is what Luo men used to do. They used to eat with the children and then the women go. You know, to you it's tradition.
Yeah.
But to us it hurts us deeply in a way. So trying to define toxic to men is kind of null and void. There's really
it's
no
difficult.
It's difficult. You know, it's like trying to speak about you see the whole thing of the red pill community when they talk about hypergamy.
Okay.
I actually do agree with that part of women are hypergamous because they have to think about the children. So when they're looking at you, they're looking at you and thinking, okay, this man with this, if I have 10 children with this man be able to take care of those 10 children? That's hypergamy, which is okay. And we are hypergamous. Okay?
About for Wanjiru who is not thinking of having a child.
Yeah,
how then
I want a friend.
How do you then look at that man?
I look at emotional intelligence. Yes, I look at how do you relate with other people? Okay. How is your social awareness? Your level of empathy? Yeah. How do you handle your own emotions? That's emotional awareness. Yeah. Because how you handle your own emotions is the way you're going to handle my emotions, and so how you're going to handle emotions generally. So that is why you hear when maybe dating coaches are telling people that observe the way he talks to the waiter when you go out on a date. See, they usually say that we are trying to assess your emotional intelligence. We know if you are shouting at the waiter in the restaurant, you will shout at me in the house.
At some point.
Yeah. We know that. Once upon a time, I dated this guy. It's 20 years ago. So we are just talking with this guy, and he's telling me how they had a fight with one of the siblings in Alafu. He took a panga in the village and started chasing the sibling around with the panga. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, we are done. We are done. Like, at the back of my mind, I was like, we are done. If you can do that to your own sibling, me and I'm not even your blood, you will chase me with a panga. So it's in interactions like that that you learn somebody's emotional intelligence. And I don't know if you've heard this nowadays, women, especially women who have their own money, now they're saying it's not even about money. It's about emotional intelligence. We want men that have emotional intelligence. Meaning, how emotionally aware are you of yourself, of your shadows, of your trauma, of your wounds? Are you working towards healing those traumas and wounds? Because now those have nothing to do with me as your partner. That's the past. Because if you don't heal those, if you don't work on that, it will pour into our relationship. So that's what we are looking for, emotional intelligent men. Money we will make, but we still want your money for the sake of your children, those who have children. So as much as unasema she has resources from Safaricom, if you have children with her, you have to bring your resources. It is what it is.
I completely agree.
Yes.
It's I think relationship these days it's very complex.
Very.
And I think it should be customized to the two people that are on the table, so that you agree on the route that you want to take.
But people change and people evolve, and the thing is, women tend to change more than, I don't know if it's because of hormones or what, but
I feel like women put their foot down a lot as they grow, as they mature.
It's the awareness that comes in. Also, the hormones that influence us play a very big role in the things we tolerate, things we accept. And the older, for example, I hear some these scientists, when they talk about hormones, they talk about when we have a lot of hormones within us, when we are young, 20s, teenage years, it's like the hormones make us stronger to tolerate bullshit, and and that's why we can be able to have children, handle the pain and nurture the pain. But up from 35, where we are told now tumeisha nini, when we are told by the red pill community, we are being told that now nyinyi, when you hit 35, that's it for you guys.
Expired materials.
You are expired. That is when now our hormonal levels are starting to
stabilize,
to go down. Actually, they're starting to go down, and that is when the tolerance of the bullshit
start to diminish.
Yes. So we get to a point where we don't even now care. That is why you'll find that they're saying, no, you need to marry these girls when they are around 20, 25, because when they hit 30, 35, you will not be able to manage
them.
Because there are some things they will not tolerate. So I think the hormonal conversation is also plays in that, because they even say libido
goes down
for women when those hormones, and women are getting replacement therapy. One of the reasons why men started getting young girls is because libido of the wife, she doesn't want to be touched. Sex is painful because lubrication involves hormones. So she doesn't want. So the man is like, so now I'm going to live like this, like a 20-year-old. So many things are contributing, but at least science is helping nowadays.
You grew up in
hormone
church.
Replacement. Yes.
Can you tell me about your story of growing up in church? Was it like mine? I grew up a little bit in church, a lot in church.
Well, we like to say we were born saved. I don't remember a time whereby I went in front there and said I've gotten saved. It's like it's just something that happened. So you find yourself, you're so involved in church from Sunday school, from junior youth, holidays, scripture union camps, never missed even one holiday scripture union camps. I think that time zilikuanga Alliance Boys or something. So that was my life. And then when my mom died, when my mom was widowed, the church kind of took us. So especially for me, my friends were in church. The people the people who now held me were in church. So I just got in there and just went with it. I did not want to bother my mom because my mom was busy with my other siblings. So even when I finished Form 4, my mom was like, I don't have money to take you to college. So you have to find a path. So I just naturally gravitated towards ministry. And that's how I started making my money in ministry. Started getting an income in ministry. Started doing music.
What do you mean by
working in church, making money, working in church.
As an employee?
Yes, as an employee, also doing gigs. Going to a church, I train praise and worship. I used to train vocals. So if I am invited to a church, I go train the praise and worship. I teach them new songs. So that time, because I was raised in town, I used to know Hillsong, Don Mowen, Donny McClacken. And it's village, the uko inside.
Yeah.
So I used to go and train them those songs. So I'm removing them from zile nyimbo za kitambo to this now new songs. So I'd go do that, a gig here and there, I get my 1,000. That's how I started making money. Until I got employed, and then I started selling my music that way. And that's how I did it. To me, it was not as bad as some people speak of it, because I was stubborn, I was difficult. So even when I was in church, when you told me something I did not agree with, I said, no, I am not doing that. And that's because of being raised in a secure home. My parents listened to me. My opinion mattered. So I always had a voice. So even if the pastor said 1, 2, 3, like the pastor telling me, ati that brother, the Lord is saying that brother is your husband, I'm like, tell him to come and let me know too, kwani he's afraid of me. So manipulating me was kind of hard. So it wasn't as bad. I did not have much issues when it comes to dating in church, because I had already been conditioned that men be wary of men. So I never did a lot of dating in church. I just maintained friends. And I think at the back of my mind, I still knew marriage, family, children is still not for me. Kutoka tu kitambo. So that is not an area I pursued. Relationships, that was not much for me. So I was not conditioned as much as most people are, whereby you're an adult now, you're 40 years old, and you're coming and you're telling me, wow, how did I get here? I don't like my life. Because most of the time when people come for coaching, that's like their premise. I don't understand how I got here because I don't like my life. When they say
that they do not understand how they got there,
yeah, it's the conditioning.
Where is there?
It's in a marriage that is unhappy. They don't like being married. Okay, they are dealing with rebellious children, because at our age now they are dealing with teenagers. Okay,
Gen Z.
Yeah, they are stressed. Their nervous system is dysregulated, and they look back to their childhood and they realize that really this is not the dream they had for themselves. But because of certain conditioning environments, they found themselves here. And maybe it is because they were raised in homes that they were not secure enough to say no to some of these things. For example, the pressure to get married in church is crazy.
Is it?
In church. The pressure to get married. Leave alone the leadership itself. Self-policing, your peers, your age mates. Like, hey, your friend is married, your other friend is married, yeah, he's married. I went through that. I went through a season where all my friends got married. But because I knew what I wanted, I did not allow that to pull me inside. But most people don't know. Most people think I'm supposed to grow up and get married and have children. And then 30 years down the line, I'm like, this is not what I wanted. But what's done is done. So how we do it is just, first of all, we incorporate compassion. By incorporating compassion is to making sure that this person does not blame themselves, by understanding that there was another hidden hand to the choices that you made. Okay? So even if you made the wrong choices, it's not entirely your fault. some things were out of your control. And that is what that's where we start, the compassion. So that someone can forgive themselves, because some of them think they messed up their life. And when someone says, I don't like my life, it comes with an element of I hate myself. Okay. So what we need to do is to bring this person to a place of forgiving themselves for the choices they have made. And the path is to teach them that they were conditioned.
I want to ask you a question about the fact that when somebody comes to you and tells you that I am here and I don't like where I am, how do I start getting out of this place? I think you started explaining it, but I want to go back to religion and interrogate together with you a little bit of why religion is such a strong conditioner for. All right, people of the internet, I hope that you're enjoying this episode very much. And I just had a break to tell you about my new book. You know, everybody says that there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their town, in their city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call brothers, but there are no jobs. Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world, and there is no one to do them except you. I work for Americans myself. I work for Europeans. I work for the Chinese. I work for the Australians. I work for the Canadians. And so, because I have done so much for myself, I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a digital book called Goldmine 18 Hustles for Africans. And then in 2025, AI came. People say AI is taking away our jobs. And for me, I'm going to say false. There are actually AI jobs. Jobs are not being taken by AI, but there are new jobs online that are there because of AI. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. And for now, in my new book, we have 25 online and offline jobs that you can leverage on if you do not have a job. So in this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I've made and lessons I've learned over the 15 years that I have worked online. So what can you do online? You can become an executive assistant for busy folks in Europe, America, Canada, and get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. Okay? You can build a lot of things. Build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce shop without capital, be an affiliate marketer, or you can also become actually an English tutor and tens of AI jobs. If you have a job, that is fine. But I also know that you can buy this book for that brother, for that sister, for that mother, for that cousin, for that husband who is watching Netflix all day at home. Buy it for your friend who is always asking for cash. You know that friend. Now, all the information is on the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or go to my website, which is odworjigero.co.ke. And now, back to programming. A lot of people.
Right. Now, this is simply brain things. Just what I talked about, operant conditioning and classical conditioning. Associating one thing with another. Okay? So we have needs as human beings. We have the social need or the spiritual need to connect with something that is greater than us. So that we can call God, universe, source, whichever way you prefer, ancestors. And what has happened from our childhood, this need has been paired with another stimuli, right? And because of that, we have learned to interpret certain things, rituals, beliefs, certain communities like churches. A church is just a community. with this need. So they go to, that's how conditioning has happened. So when now you're in this community, because this community, the ritual, the belief is connected and it is associated in your brain with your innate desire to connect with something greater than you. Anything that comes from this neutral stimuli, the church, the community, automatically becomes like a way you connect. Okay? So anything that is introduced, the ritual, the belief, whatever community cults that are introduced, in your brain, it's like, okay, this is a way I can connect because this is an innate need. I need to meet this need. So you go ahead and do this, whichever it is. Now, there's something called extinction in operant conditioning. And this now is the process of getting out. And now this is the cemented neural pathways in your brain. This is brain. Every action you take, you've been conditioned. And you've entered now the beliefs, the rituals, the community, what. You've done that for 20 years. That repetition has cemented neural pathways in your brain. The only way to get out of it is to go through what they call extinction. And the only way to do it is to stop feeding if you want to unprogram that conditioning. And you have to pull away from this conditioning. You have to stop the practices. You have to move away from that community. It is very hard to uncondition when you're still there. So what would I tell someone who feels it's one of the hardest things to do, but you just have to move away? It is the first step. And this first step comes with what we call the dark night of the soul. I like to equate extinction in psychology with the dark night of the soul in spirituality. Because the dark night of the soul is when you realize everything that I have believed in might not be exactly what I thought it was. Okay? So you have to step aside from it and examine it outside so that you can look at it and see, does it serve your highest good? And more often than not, you will find that some of the things that are inside those communities, they don't serve your highest good. So it's a painful process to uncondition. In human design, they say it takes at least 7 years to uncondition. They say you step back, but because your brain is, those neural pathways are still cemented, you go back. You step back again, stay a little bit, but those neural pathways are still cemented, you go back. So you'll find people like, I'm done with this and this and this, and then same thing with relationships. Neural pathways cemented, takes a while to untangle the pathways. So in human design, it takes 7 years. The reason they give in human design is there's something about biology. I don't know how truth is. They say that your cells regenerate every 7 years or something. Every 7 years, you have a new body. Something to do with the cells. I'm not sure. But that's the logic behind it.
So can I ask you a question then? Because as a churchgoer and as somebody in that community, I am just thinking of scenarios in my head. So you are probably a man that goes to church, and you're feeling like, do I have to go to church every Sunday? Do I have to go to the midweek meeting? Do I have to go to Garissa to preach about the Lord? While I know that I need to be home with my family and do 1, 2, 3? Yes. Do I really have to be a lay reader? Do I really have to give 1/10? Tithe. The tithe? Do I need to do all these things? So I think these are specifics in the life of this particular individual. And this is the same person that is like, I feel like there are several nuts that are loose in my head, in the way I lead my life.
Yes. If you stopped doing those things.
No. These are the things that are happening. But then I come to scholar Mick Wanjiru, and she is telling me that I need to interrogate the things that I am doing.
Yes.
Okay? So then, in my estimation, this means that I am going to stop going to Garissa to preach the gospel to the Muslims.
Yes.
If I have to.
Extinction. It's called extinction.
Extinction.
Yes.
Extinguishing.
Yes.
Those elements and items.
And in extinction, they specifically say that extinction is not forever. It's just for a moment to step back. Because usually you'll extinct some of this conditioning, and then much later you'll find yourself back because of a situation. In this case, we can say you might stop going to church because of you have examined a few things and you don't think it's serving your highest good. But say there's a wedding, there's a funeral, there's somebody in your family is unwell and you need the support of the church. So extinction is not really forever. But it is an important part of you stepping back and observing the conditioning so that you can determine, because conditioning means it happened outside of your control. So what you're doing is you are stepping back to gain control now, so that even if you're going to start paying tithe, you're going to start paying tithe out of you being in charge of it, not because you are told. We are not even saying we are not telling you don't pay tithe or don't go for midday fellowship. But is that something you want, or it's something that was conditioned? You found yourself here. Why do you feel like you don't like your life? Because you should like your life. Meaning if you don't like your life, it means you don't like tithing, or you don't like going. You're doing something you don't like. That is the definition of self-hate. Doing things you don't like.
Self-hate.
Yeah. It's like you don't regard yourself to say no to some things because you don't want to do it. So let's talk about the issue of tithe. So tithe was something is a must. You have to do it 10%. And we've always asked questions for a very long time because we were like, what if I want to give 20%? It's only, we used to ask those questions. And recently, some pastors have started coming out and they've started saying that tithe is actually not biblical. It's not biblical. It's like it was placed there. Because the things that maybe you find in the Bible, they don't limit you to just like 10% or whatever. There's things like first fruits, and then there's offerings and all those things. But here's the thing, Jagero. If you are questioning doing something, investigate it. Step back and investigate it. Ask the people you need to ask. Find out that maybe these things are not even in Scripture. It is some preacher who decided to put those things in there for his own convenience. I'm not talking only about tithe. I'm talking about a lot of spiritual things. And I'm not only talking about mainstream religions. Even spirituality. Hizi mpya zinakuja. New Ageism. Every kind of, because of that need we have to connect with something greater than us, somebody will come and take advantage of that by trying to condition us. Because it's an involuntary need. It's something we want. We want to connect with something greater than us. We want to feel connected. We want to feel we are not alone here. We want to feel that there is something.
I think that also, because even in the first episode that we talked about, you remember us talking about in-laws, that
yes.
There are people that are going to be in your life whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And I think sometimes also church is like that, where,
yes.
So for example, I don't go to church every Sunday. I used to do it before. And if I did not go to church sometimes back, there will be a whole level of guilt that I will feel. And I will feel that I have let down the Lord. Look at you watching a movie at 11.
Yes.
You know,
when people are in church.
Yeah, while the organ is playing.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Why are you here reading a book that is not even Christian, and yet people are in church?
Why are you in a club eating nyama choma and
yeah,
people are drinking?
People are, so something like that. So I think that also, the way what we should be asking ourselves is, there are people who now demand answers from you.
Yes.
Okay? Why are you not going with us to Garissa? Have you left the Lord?
You've backslid.
You know?
That happened to me when I left praise and worship ministry.
Okay.
People even were sent to me. It was bad. It was bad up to the point whereby we started having fights with my mom because of that thing. And I had to put my foot down and I told them, I'm not coming back. This is my life.
Why did you leave praise and worship?
Okay, one of the reasons I left is because I was not being paid well.
Okay.
You know, I was a worker. I was a full-time worker. Yeah.
That's very controversial.
8 to 5. So it was a job. Meaning I had to be there during lunch hour fellowships. I'm leading praise and worship. During evening fellowships, I'm leading. It's not a Sunday thing. Like today, the way people do ministry. Asha, you come in Asha on Sunday. For me, it was my time. My time was occupied in church. It was a job. So I was not compensated as I should have been. And at the same time, I had started to question a lot of doctrinal things in church. And of course, that whole thing of getting married and being pushed also really used to bother me. And you're meant to feel like something is wrong with you because you're not married. Na utakuwa msherati, na hatutaki viongozi wa sherati. The idea is if you are single in church and you're a leader, wewe ni msherati. But when we know you have a husband, we know that meat is net by one person. There's so many things go on in that pulpit.
What were your expectations yourself? You did not want to get married, but you wanted to continue serving in church. How was that going to work with your burning flesh?
I did not have burning flesh. Why are you assuming I did not have it? And there are people who do ministry, people like Joshua Selman. He's a single man doing ministry, doing great things, and he's single.
What does single mean in this sense?
It means there is no wife at home who is being kunjwad every night.
Okay.
So, because that's what you mean by burning desires. That's what you mean.
Yes, so where is he taking his burning desire, this single guy?
Under the blood of Jesus.
Oh, is that so?
No, it was not an issue. And then I am of the opinion that if you don't do something, if you don't have sex as much as often, muscles have memory. It does not bother you. Shida ni ukianza, unataka. But if you don't, you're good.
That's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, muscles have memory. That's an athletic term. That's why you keep training, you train, so that when you go running, your muscles are remembering. Same thing with sex. If you have sex, tomorrow the body wants, muscles wants memory.
So if you do not take sex, if you do not engage in sex for, let's say, 6 months, or what happens?
Your muscles forget. You don't hear people saying that I am so scared of going because I have not had sex in a long time and I have forgotten. True, muscles have memory. Unaweza sahau jagero. Unasahau mtu anashikanga wapi.
Oh, is that so?
Ama ukishikwa unasahau unafaa kufanya you forget. Is it? You forget how to.
Are you the people who groan mechanically like that? I think groaning is just you enjoying the whole thing and crying a certain way. Must you groan a certain way? Must you remember how you groan? You can weep whichever way you want to weep.
Well, women, we are very expressive. You can scream, you can shout, you can ululate. It depends with your style of doing it. But for example, like okay, let's go back to the nature topic. So I hear men can get aroused by just seeing a skirt. Okay. For women, it's a bit different. We get hot different times of the month. You've heard about ovulation. During ovulation, a woman will corner you and tell you, "Kijana, panda kitanda."
Panda kitanda.
During ovulation, because that time it's. But if you know how to manage that time of the month, the rest of the month you're easy. You're okay.
How do women manage that time of the month? The women that do not have men around.
Person, when they don't have men around.
Yeah. How do you manage that time of the month?
So you just know you want, and there is no man around, and that's it.
That's how you manage it.
Yeah. Cynthia. And then another thing with women, I hear. Contraceptive makes us cold. We don't want. So there's so many factors when it comes to women. So that's why you hear a woman can stay for very long and they're okay. But the minute they start like this, muscles have memory. They start looking for kinodhia, kamande, yeah. Mambo ya dunia, mambo ya mwili. Yeah. So anyway, it varies also with everyone. We cannot put it in one box and say like one person is like that.
So that's that. About the religion that we were talking about. How do you deal with the family members or the people around your community that are seeing a change in the way you are behaving, and you want to assure them or tell them to?
Honestly, the way I handled it was a bit callous. We'd use callous. Because I talked shit. I was like, I'm grown. I can make my own decisions. So hit the road. The only person I was very sensitive with was my mom. Lucky enough for me, my mom is not the pushy type. She's like, you do you. As long as my mom was okay, everybody else, I just told them to hit the road. Most of them unfriended me on Facebook. They stopped talking to me. Said it's fine, I'll make a new community. If you see my Facebook following when I was in church and now, totally different people.
What do you mean by totally different people?
They unfollowed me, they unfriended me when I left church, and I started questioning some things about the church. Ali backslide. And I started questioning nitty-gritties, scripture, money, relationships, marriage, just question. I used to do it on Facebook. So you see, they used to see. So they come, they argue, and then they see they're not convincing me, they leave.
By unfollowing you?
By unfollowing me. But the way they left is when I gained these other people who are now having the same questions as me. In the journey of removing the programs, that's now a new community was formed. Okay, so it's still the same need of wanting to connect with something greater than us. Same need that was met in religion is still the same need that is being met in these new spiritual communities. Yeah. And maybe in the future or years from now, a new approach is going to come to meet the same need, because this need will always be there.
Yeah.
So generationally, it will be met differently. When this condition is removed, religion, then a new condition is formed, spirituality. Then this one is going to be removed, then another one is going to be formed. It's going to be like a cycle. That's why we don't judge, we just walk away.
Do you think that Christianity has some fundamental issues that is stunting growth? Do you think that, would you say that Christianity or going to church is good for your well-being?
When it comes to, it depends. It depends with who are in that particular community. Because we have heard of pastors in that church community that are abusing children, are raping, and so it depends with the community itself. But in an idealistic world, I'd say the church is not so bad when it comes to adabu, ethics, 10 commandments. Do not steal, do not, tabia mzuri. It propagates that, which is a good thing. Morality, it's a good thing. But there are things that happen in church that are not on the surface that can be very dangerous.
Like what?
Like abuse. Catholic Church, abuse of children. There is a pastor that was trending the other day for raping young boys. That's still a pastor in a Christian church, So it depends with the community, and that's why I don't like calling them churches. I like to call them communities.
You mean you do not like calling them churches? You like calling them communities?
Because the church...
You believe that it should be a community rather than a church?
Yes.
And what would be the difference between the two?
The difference would be this, that hierarchy that hierarchy of there's the big boss, and then there's the other. That is what propagates the abuse. A community brings you you're like at par. You're at par with these people. There is no big boss that can call a young girl in the office and the young girl is intimidated because this is Bishop. And then Bishop can have her way with her. And she's so afraid that she cannot go to a fellow sister and say, Bishop did this to me, But you see, in a community setting whereby you're with your peers, you can be able to say, I went to Bishop's office and he tried to do 1, 2, 3. But I'm glad Gen Z, sasa. Gen Z, I love Gen Z. Now you can't do that stuff to Gen Zs. You cannot abuse and they keep quiet. So that is why you're seeing they're also forming their own online communities now. Because now they don't want the church concept. They want the community concept. They'd rather have a WhatsApp community where they get nourished spiritually than go to a place whereby there's that hierarchy of bishops and archbishops and pastors and everything who think they're the ones who are more connected to source than the rest of us. And that is where we are going. We are going back to communal. We are stepping aside from that hierarchy thing because people are refusing to do it. It's part of why people are refusing to go to church. They don't want that stuff.
Do you think that pastors are more men of God than when they say
they're not?
congregants?
They're not, but they pretend they are. They are the last word. God said through us. So you must do what I said because God said. That is what Gen Z is walking away from. Can God say that to me directly, please? Does he have to come through you? Or does she have to come through? Yeah. And it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Things are shifting, as you say, digital world. Things like is it the UK? I saw some guys talking about the way UK churches are turning into clubs.
And museums.
Yes, people don't go to those.
And Airbnbs.
Yeah, it will happen slowly by slowly because people have refused.
But in Africa, we still have...
we have a long way to go.
We still have our big churches and our congregations and Pastor Nganga and the whole lot of them.
Here conditioning is still...
Why do you think so, by the way, why the West is moving away from it?
Oh, the West.
And yet Africans are still bound by...
Economic empowerment. I think one of the reasons why people rush to church is because they are poor. One of the reasons.
What do you mean by that?
They find it as a way, again, conditioning and association, food and neutral stimuli, praying and food. So if I go to church, I will get association again. Going to church will meet my basic needs. So that's one of the reasons why people rush to church. That's why you'll see when somebody wins lotto, like there's a guy who won lotto. Not lotto. The one for, it's called what?
Aviator.
Sports Pesa. He closed his church. There was some pastor somewhere. I saw it on social media. He won that thing. He closed his church and nobody knows where he went. I don't know if it was in Kenya. I don't know where, but I'm not sure. Why? Because one of the reasons why people are inside those buildings is poverty.
And the promise of...
And the comfort and the hope that they get because of the conditioning of association. It's fine. It's a comfortable. It gives them comfort. It's good. It's okay. But I tell you, the minute you give one of those people 1 million,
they're out.
They're out. So that's one of the reasons. And since we cannot blame people for finding comfort where they find it.
Yeah.
So if you find comfort in church, by all means, we want you to feel good. If the church makes you feel good, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much again for this episode. Let's talk about how people get you and what you do for them.
I help people move through their journey of self-awareness. I use different tools. I incorporate psychology, mysticism, and I also do courses. So I do 4 classes per year, usually start in February. all the way to May. And I do sessions, individual sessions online. To reach me or to talk to me, you can use Scholar Mikwanjiro, Facebook. You can DM me. Or my WhatsApp number, text, don't call, 07.
Why can people call?
Because most of the time you'll call and I won't pick up because I'm on session.
Okay.
Yeah. So 0721 917 407. I used to tell people to call, and then I used to ignore calls a lot. Because most people will call after 5, and after 5 is when I have a lot of my sessions and my classes. So people think I'm ignoring them. But I can't pick a call when I'm on Google Meet teaching or having a session. So I just told guys, please just be texting. I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, you've always gotten back to me when I text.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. Even because nikiwa busy, siwezi ongea.
Yeah.
Because that person has paid for the time. So I have to honor that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Scholar Mick. We'll have another episode. People of the internet, look forward to episode 3. Which is also going to be amazing. I am having a book called The Digital Gold Mine, 25 online hustles that you can leverage on if you are thinking of getting a side hustle or mambo ni magumu and you want to get an online job. A lot of people have been buying it. I think there was an ad in the beginning or in the middle of the podcast. So check it out in the description. And until another episode, bye for now. Very good.